There's something to be said for leaders who have an air of confidence and class about them. They can walk into any meeting room feeling self-assured and not feeling threatened by people who are more experienced or more senior than they are. They can share their thoughts and opinions freely without hesitation and sound articulate when they do so. And they have an elegant signature style which solidifies their leadership presence. This might seem unachievable to you. You might think these people were born that way or they grew up in an affluent, well-to-do background. But the reality is most of them probably didn't. They just follow certain habits that build the notion that they are confident and classy. I'm going to share 9 of those habits with you, starting with a timeless style. Meaning the way they dress, the clothes they wear are carefully chosen for their wardrobe to help them build a classic timeless style. They consider their wardrobe to be an investment, not just a place where they keep their clothes. And as such, they choose pieces that help them develop that classic timeless style that they want. They're confident to dress more formally than others in the office because they know this helps to elevate them above their competition and position themselves as a leader. They have at least one suit in their wardrobe. Most of the time, it's in a classic color like navy, gray, or beige. This is what they usually wear to boardroom meetings. But some of them might also have a suit that is in a more vibrant color, something that suits their signature style a lot better. On more casual days, they might opt for tailored pants with a cashmere jumper or a shirt or some kind of sweater. Some might even wear jeans and a t-shirt to work, but they always have a blazer with them just in case. More importantly, they don't follow fashion fads, and they don't show off designer logos either, because they know that these types of clothing go out of style really quickly. It looks like they're trying to keep up with the in crowd, rather than establish their independent signature classic style that embodies their leadership brand. Confident, classy leaders don't look disheveled either. They know that poor grooming will immediately ruin any attempt they put into their outfit and will become part of their leadership reputation. Instead, they take care of their overall appearance, not just their clothes. They make sure their hair is trimmed and appropriately styled for the office. They make sure their makeup suits their complexion and is not too bright or distracting. They make sure their beard is trimmed as well. They make all of this effort because they know that good grooming shows they respect themselves and they respect the other people in the office that they work with too. Confident, classy leaders always seem to keep their cool. In stressful or tense situations, they don't seem to lose their temper or act aggressively. When things don't go to plan, they immediately move to finding a solution. They don't complain or try to blame other people when things go wrong, because they know that things don't always go to plan, and it's in those times of stress where you really need to keep a level head. You need to stay cool, calm, and collected so you can analyze the situation properly and find an appropriate solution for it. Part of not losing their cool is to ensure they communicate with their co-workers in a professional and respectful manner. If a confident, classy leader were to belittle or to talk down to a team member or communicate aggressively with them, they know it reflects badly on them. They know that it makes them look insecure, irrational, or foolish, not like the confident, classy leader they want to be. So they always make an effort to speak to people in a courteous manner. They always use please and thank you when appropriate. When they're delegating to people, they make sure they don't do it aggressively. And when they're giving feedback to people, they make sure they give both positive and also constructive feedback. And when giving constructive feedback, they make sure that they don't do it in an aggressive manner. They make sure that they do it in a helpful and supportive manner. And when they give feedback, they don't criticize people, telling them only what they did wrong and providing no solution or help for them to do a better job next time. They also make sure they invite the input of their team members because they do value their experience, their competence, and their expertise as professionals. While confident, classy leaders show respect to their team members, they also command respect from their team members too, to make sure that they're not seen as a pushover. And for this, they make sure that they use confident communication and assertive communication whenever they're interacting with them. Part of showing respect and also displaying confidence is to use the other person's name in conversation. Confident, classy leaders make sure they do this as well. In meetings, they're not afraid to use another person's name when they're referring to their suggestions. For the same reason Jennifer mentioned, I think we should go ahead with Plan B. Or when adding on to what another person has said, they make sure they use their name too. Adding on to the reasons Jennifer mentioned, I think Plan B will be much more cost effective because it requires less people to be involved. And in conversations when they're directly talking to people, they make sure they use their name too. Jennifer, I really appreciate the suggestions you made in today's meeting. Rather than addressing them as some kind of anonymous person. Confident, classy leaders know, just like Dale Carnegie, that a person's name to him or her is the sweetest sound in any language. And it helps them to show respect too. Confident, classy leaders don't ask invasive questions. They respect professional boundaries and they understand that as a leader, their team might not feel comfortable sharing everything about their lives with them. So they don't ask questions like, are you going to start a family? Why don't you have kids? What health problems do you need to take time off for? You know, those types of questions that as a receiver, they make you want to shrink back in your chair. And confident, classy leaders also know that there are some kinds of questions they can't legally ask you as a boss. Confident, classy leaders don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, and they don't want to act unethically or illegally either. If an employee feels comfortable to openly share information, then the confident, classy leader will listen and they will act accordingly. But they won't purposely go after that information or ask invasive questions in order to get that information. And if they are given this information from an employee, they definitely do not pass this information on to anyone else. Moving on to communication tips for confident, classy leaders. Well, they know how to communicate well, meaning they know how to articulate their speech sounds clearly so people can understand what they're saying. They also know how to articulate their thoughts in an organized way so they're not muddled or confused. This results in their overall communication being seen as articulate and them being seen as a leader who can speak in an articulate manner too. Confident, classy leaders use different methods in order to achieve this. When it comes to speech sounds, they make sure they pronounce clearly the beginning and the end sounds of every word to make sure they're not meshed or muddled together. They also articulate their thoughts carefully, so they take time before they start speaking to organize their thoughts first. And then when they communicate their thoughts, they make sure they communicate one thought at a time. This avoids them jumping from one thought to another and the listener not being able to understand or follow the points they're making. Some confident, classy leaders might also use the read, write, speak method, which I talk about in this video up here. While they're communicating, confident, classy leaders make sure they use confident body language because they know that their body language or their nonverbal communication is just as important, if not more important, than their verbal communication. To set the stage, they pay particular attention to how they walk into the room. They don't look at the ground or look at their shoes as they're walking into the room. They keep their head high, their eyes are wide open, and they make sure they scan the room and look people in the eye as they're entering. When they introduce themselves or when they meet people for the first time, they use the right kind of handshake. So they use the corporate style handshake, where you have your hand outstretched as you approach the other person, you make sure you have web-to-web contact, and you shake up and down 2 or 3 times. Throughout each interaction, whether they're sitting or standing, they make sure they use good posture. So they keep their shoulders back, they keep their stomach strong, and they keep their back straight. They also make sure they use good eye contact with the people that they're talking to, as well as using their name in conversation, which is what we talked about in a previous point in this video. Confident, classy leaders also share divergent opinions. They have confidence in their thoughts and they know how to articulate them clearly, so they're not scared to share divergent opinions. This is what is expected of leaders, and as a confident, classy leader, they know that people expect this of them too. They have a wealth of experience and education that they bring to the table. They know their value, so they can share an independent opinion when they need to. And if they don't agree with what someone has said in a meeting, they will confidently and respectfully communicate that too. They don't just shut people's ideas down, they try to work with them to build a better idea. Now, sometimes the person who shared their opinion is more experienced or more powerful than they are, like a senior leader or an executive. In that situation, the confident, classy leader still doesn't shy away from sharing their opinion either, even if it's different to what the more powerful person has shared. They just make sure that they do it in the correct way and in a respectful way, which is what I talk about in this video up here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got some good tips and valuable information from it. If you did like this video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this every week, and I will see you next week in another video.